everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Talkaholics podcast. This is Iman.
And this is Razia.
So today's podcast, or today's episode, I should say, we're going to be speaking about love.
Ooh, guys, it's getting different in here.
Okay, nothing too deep. We're actually going to be talking about Black love and the portrayal of Black love in film.
Exactly.
Because, so a couple weeks ago, this beautiful thing happened. And it was so funny how I reacted because like Razia was there for the reaction. She was like, you're insane. But this trailer came out for this movie called The Photograph with Issa and LaKeith Stanfield.
Both of which were amazing.
Amazing
Just slipping
actors.
that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I saw this trailer and I was like, initially, before I even watched the trailer, I was like, okay, like, because it was coming out on Valentine's Day. And I was like, oh, another like cheesy Valentine's Day movie, kind of like, what was it? The All Night. What was that movie that came on Valentine's Day with Kevin Hart and like a whole bunch of other?
Oh, I know what you're talking. I don't remember the name either.
Anyways,
but
that
it's like
movie,
that stereotypical,
yeah, and it was so cheap. I remember seeing that sitting in theaters. I'm like, this.
You went
like,
to the theaters for that?
Yes, I saw it in theaters. I don't know why, but
Oh
like,
my God.
I was excited because there was all these great Black actors and actresses in it. And this storyline was horrible. It was so cheesy. I hated it. So that's what I was like, oh, shoot. But then I'm like, you know what? Let me watch the trailer because both of these actors, both of them are great actors. And I want to believe in something more substantial than the cheesy Valentine's Day romantic movie.
Yeah.
So I watched the trailer, and I am just, like, so happy.
And I'm really happy you brought it up to me, too, because, like, the second... Because I also the same thing too. Like you told me, like romantic, whatever. It wasn't even a romantic comedy. Really looking at it, it's just a romantic movie. I mean,
I guess it's supposed to be a little funny.
Given that it's Issa Rae in it, come on, there's gonna be good moments. But yeah, so I was like, okay, we'll see what the hype's about. And then I see who's in it, and then I see like really what it's talking about, and how it's so focused on just like that couple, and you know, like. Yeah, I thought especially for this podcast, it would be a really good discussion.
Yeah, and like it's not coming out until obviously February 2020, February 14th to be exact. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's coming on the exact day.
I think it's Valentine's Day.
It's
at the end. Yeah.
But I watched the trailer. I fell in love with the storyline. I fell in love with the characters, and I haven't even watched the movie yet. But
We're both
I'm in love with the love.
Yo, I feel like.
No, it's sorry.
Okay, sorry about that.
And I made Razia watch it right then and there.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was like the last session that we recorded. And then you're like, Razia, I have an idea. And then it just like popped up on my laptop. I was watching it. But no, I was completely sold. Like,
I think they did a really good job with the trailer.
I think so too.
I hope
it gives you just enough.
Yeah, and I hope that that's not all it is.
No, I don't want to know the whole plot just from watching it.
I hate when trailers do that.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it just gave me, it gave you a little tease. It gave you like a little expectation. And it was just like there's the trailer makes their on-screen chemistry look amazing. It looks like they did a really good job.
To be honest, I would have never thought of those two together. Never, especially him in a rom-com. Like, right? Because she's done that kind of stuff in like before in her TV show and whatever. She's like romantic interest typically, but him just only because of Get Out and like how completely different that character is. Yeah. Him to see him like all chiseled and stuff in this, I was like, okay.
For those who haven't seen the trailer, it's basically a romantic drama, and it's about this woman who so basically her mom was a photographer. Like her mom suddenly passes away, and her mom was a photographer, and basically the character that Issa Rae plays is trying to figure out more about her mom's life and like why she lived the life she did, and why, because they have like a really like strained relationship, so why wasn't she in her life as much as she wanted. And LaKeith is playing a journalist who's writing a story on her mom. So that's how they meet.
Right.
And then the way the trailer kind of shows how the movies is gonna go is it's gonna like juxtapose.
Yeah, now I'm like, I don't even know how to say the word in my head. Contrast? I don't know. What are those?
Juxtapose. I speak English, I think. I don't know. It's going to juxtapose her mom's love life and then her love life in current time. So it's going to kind of go between flashbacks of her mom and like her dad and how they met and how they grew to love each other, and then her current love story with LaKeith.
Yeah, and the trailer does a good job of like literally showing that, because there are certain literal scenes where they're in almost similar exact clothing or setup or environment, and then it flips to the modern day them. Yeah. So,
and it's just like the little scenes they give us in the trailer with them like getting to know each other. It's just
adorable.
Like your heart just fills with love. Like, you can't not like this. If someone hates on this, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. Do you not have happiness in your life?
Do you not love
love? But basically, so why? So you guys are probably thinking like, why is this so important?
Yeah, like, are they gonna gush about this for the entire episode?
Are we gonna just talk for 30 minutes about? Yes, just a little bit. But why is this so important? Okay, so for Razia, I don't know like how much you have watched like Black love stories in film.
Yeah.
But this is something that this is something that like I've kind of grown up with my entire life, and I feel like I haven't even seen all the like classic Black love stories there are, but like things like Love and Basketball, like those early 90s movies like about like teenagers falling in love, and it just like, and it's like so sincere and it's so authentic rather than like those cheesy like stereotypical
it's not glamorous.
It's just like it's real. It's like exactly, and like those are the things that I love, and I feel like we've been lacking in that recently. And so that's why I feel like it's so important that we have something coming out like this, where it's like, because I feel like and I love that we have representation, and there's been a call for more representation in film over the years. But I don't know if people have noticed, and I'm sure people have. But how often we're seeing movies that have representation of Black men and women in it, but how many times those movies are about Black men and women in in positions where they are beneath everyone else. So whether it be like historical movies about slavery,
this is 100%
or it's about like Black men being incarcerated.
It's about them struggling.
It's about struggle. Like I feel like so I was actually reading an article about this, about why we want to see Black love in film and why it's so important to see authentic Black love. And in the article, they quoted another article where it said that in the history of the Oscars, 10 Black women have been nominated for Best Actress, and 9 of them out of the 10 played characters who were homeless
what I was
or might soon become homeless.
Because I think I read something, maybe that exact article, or I remember it being a Vice video. You know how like they do words and it's not really an audio associated to it. I was going to touch on that exactly, because if you think about like the past Oscar nominations and awards, and given that like I follow it almost every year, the ones that are pivotal that pop up to my mind are like 12 Years a Slave, who Lupita Nyong'o played in it. She won for it. What does she play? A slave. Precious, which is a difficult movie to watch. I to this day could not rewatch that. Monique won for that. Amazing actress. She did a great job, but what is she playing? An abusive mom.
And it's not like these stories aren't important.
No,
of course they're important. But when media is saturated, or the film industry in specific, because like it's different for TV shows and stuff like that. I think we see a lot more complexity in TV shows. But in the film industry specifically, when it's saturated with like these types of stories where it's always Black people struggling, that paints a certain picture, unfortunately. And like to go back with the facts or whatever, but there was also for like the men's side, for Oscar nominated Black actors, they also shared similar commonalities, where 13 of the 20 nominations were going to roles where men were like Black men were being arrested in their role. So it's always about like this idea of them struggling, or whether they overcome the struggle or not, like the role is about Black people struggling, Black people being oppressed, whatever that may be. And again, like these films were amazing. These actors and actresses did amazing jobs.
Exactly.
But like that's why it was so important when Moonlight won.
Yeah,
that 1 year, because that movie
mm-hmm.
was about Black love and all the
probably for a long while won't be known as the one Black love movie that most people will know about.
And it's like and it's more than just like the regular dichotomy of like man woman. It's just like there's more. It shows the story.
A lot more complex.
Exactly,
mm-hmm.
and that's why it's so important. And the fact that it won an Oscar, although it was overshadowed by a little mistake that I still think was not a mistake.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. But that's why it's so important. So when we have movies like Moonlight that came out, like The Photograph that's coming out, where we have like positive. Well, I mean, again, Moonlight had its own, like, obviously it went through the struggles of how this man lived his life, but the idea of that Black people are not only capable of love, but they are, what's the word? Deserving of love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like the fact that Black people are capable and deserving of love is something that's not, like, common sense for some people. Like, it's not something that comes to mind. They're not used to seeing, and that's sad because, like, we're all human beings, and we're all capable of deserving of love.
Deserving of love. Yeah. So and it's. And just touching on that, because that's exactly the route I was going to go down. Like, I think maybe this is, like, too much of, like, I'm throwing this theory out there. But I think that, like, even with movies like Moonlight and the other movie that same director made, I forget the name of it, where it is about a Black couple. It's, like, the second movie he made right after Moonlight. I'll look up in the meantime. But, that movie also is focused on the relationship and their love and their mm-hmm. commitment to each other. But it's shrouded in this overall sadness. Like, that's the tone of the movie, to be mm-hmm. honest. Like, it's not supposed to be happy-go-lucky or cute or romantic.
Yeah. And, well, I think that's also important, right? Because there's not always a happy ending.
Right.
Like, that's in general for relationships. Like, we can't always paint this, like, happy picture. Everybody's going to be happy at the end. No, like, there's complex I can't say the word complexities. There we go.
Yeah. And especially because that specific movie takes place in a certain period of time, you have to be accurate about it. Like, he's being a little bit historical about it. So it's not like he can paint that cutesy brush over it. It's so I get that. Like, that has a different intent. But when that's the only thing people are seeing out there, and those are the movies that are getting attention and are winning, mm-hmm. for me, what that makes me understand is that the overall general audience, that people who watch the Oscars, who are primarily white, who are voting so that these awards go to these movies, my understanding is that maybe these are stories that are digestible for audiences, right? Which is sad if you think about it, right? Yeah. Like, the only way that they're willing or able to understand Black people in movies and television is with this underlying, like, undertone of there being something to struggle about, mm-hmm. that there's almost like a weird miserable, like, sense that has to come with everything, like, and yet that might come from a good place of, like, wanting Black people to feel empowered, but that shouldn't always have to be the undertone at all. That's, like, really depressing. Like, that's not, that is definitely good to point out, especially in historical movies, mm-hmm. but it's not something, if we're talking about current day, like, just something that we should always accept or feel that that's digestible.
Well, yeah, and like, as is anybody's identity, mm-hmm. Blackness is not monolithic. Like, it's
mm-hmm.
not, you can't
mm-hmm.
paint it as
mm-hmm.
one thing. Like, mm-hmm. being Black is like, the experience of being Black is so different depending on where you were raised, like, where you were born, where's your, like, what diverse. Culturally, where diverse. You come from.
Yeah.
Like, all those things, it's so diverse. Mm-hmm. The, like, African American experience is so different from my experience growing up Black mm-hmm. in Canada. Like, mm-hmm. just that is a completely different experience.
Exactly.
We can't expect.
That's my phone.
Okay. we can't think that there's only one story that needs to be told. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, there's definitely over the years. Unfortunately, like, I feel like the 90s was a great time.
Yeah.
Like, the late 80s, like, 90s was a great time for Black love stories, and I feel like we're lacking in those. And not that, like, Tyler, like, I feel like we have a lot of these Tyler Perry-esque movies where it plays into that make so much money. Because it's either, like, we talk about them as slaves, or we talk about them as, like, uber stereotypical, supposed to make you laugh there for entertainment, caricatures of Black people. Yeah. And I can't even judge, because I used to watch those movies as a kid. Like, I would watch them and I thought there was nothing wrong with it. Like, I would laugh along with the Tyler Perry movies. But now that I'm old enough to like
look at it
properly, I'm like, wait, isn't it?
Is this weird that this is making money?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And you know what? Like, honestly, Tyler Perry, good on you. He has his own
his
studio.
Own industry.
He has his own segment
of the market.
Exactly. And like, he created his own studio and everything, and that's great, because now we're seeing like this really, you know, this black man in power in the terms of the industry. But that doesn't really happen. But to get to where he got, I mean,
there's almost like a little bit of a sacrifice there. I don't know. But yeah, so just going back really quickly to the other movie, just because I found the title, If Beale Street Could Talk, you know this one.
Oh yes, I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that trailer, and I like
but it's
literally,
sad. Yeah, like
the premise of the movie is sad, because if you guys haven't seen the trailer or haven't watched the movie, from what I got from the trailer, it's about this young man and woman, and they're not married, but she gets pregnant, and it's kind of like this, and it's set in, I want to say like the 70s or the 80s.
That's what I was thinking, like early 70s.
I think so. I think it was the 70s. I'm not entirely sure, though. I can't really factually say.
Yeah.
Where we have Google, we probably should just search that.
I'm literally looking.
But she gets pregnant, and then like her boyfriend is all there for her. He's there to support her. But her family is, well, both families actually aren't really, you know, thrilled the fact that she got pregnant and that they're not married and stuff like that. And I haven't seen the movie. I really need to watch that movie. It's based on a book, right, by James Baldwin?
I think something like that. Yeah. So, but again, like, this is not a happy love story necessarily. So, and even like the little category that Google puts it under is drama and crime.
Drama and crime. Interesting.
Yeah. So it tells you like a little bit about something, even though that this is a story about, the relationship, they love each other, but it's overshadowed by all this other political stuff that's going on in the story. So I just like, and I thought about other stuff too that I've been seeing that are like less well known. I talked about it on the podcast before, Harlem Duet, that play I went and saw.
Yeah.
Right, that was like okay. The only reason why I like connected the two, even though they're drastically different, because Harlem Duet is really about a black couple who are in love, but they have like the most like depressing fallout in their marriage. It is about their divorce. It's about their breakup. But what that play does that is exact same as this trailer is that they do have back and forths between two couples in two different time periods. So the way the Harlem Duet does it is that it's doing it modern day, like a couple in Harlem, but they flash back to a couple who's living during the time of slavery. And because this play is based on Othello, like the Shakespeare play, they speak in that Shakespearean language.
Oh, like the Old English?
Yeah. When they flash back. And that's what reminded me of this, and like how interestingly that's supposed to portray that in a way that makes the relationship look tragic. But this is like complete difference. Like this is just like understanding both relationships differently and how they both blossom differently. Like that's what all I thought about. And I think that it's interesting that I can't even think of like one white like romantic movie that does that feels the need to like consider history at all, or like another couple. Yeah, exactly. So
what would they?
What is there to touch on?
I just listen. I actually really like the rom-com genre.
Yeah,
I'm always here for a nice rom-com.
It's a guilty pleasure, is what it is.
100%.
Yeah.
But like it's starting to get boring. It's starting to get, like it's just boring to see the same people over and over. If I have to see like another New Year's or Valentine's Day-esque movie where they have like 5 million white actors in one movie.
And they all connect.
And they all connect at the end of the day. I mean, and they sprinkle some black people in there, you know.
Yeah, the token black person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And all of them have like Anne Hathaway in them for some reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's cool.
I just feel like we need more. Like as just like North America in general. I mean, if we talk about the film, like Hollywood's film industry, and if we talk about the States itself has so much diversity, and like so those diverse communities, and they all contain different types of stories, whether they be love stories, hate, family. There's so many different things going on in people's lives, and that should be represented. And you might not, and it's hard in film to portray like a specific experience, because obviously it's mass media. You're trying to attract a whole bunch of people to watch your movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to make it somewhat attainable for everybody to kind of feel a connection.
Yeah.
But I still think we don't have to be producing these like very general, like whitewashed ideas.
I agree, yeah.
And we should be able to spice it up a little, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Make it different. Right, like, and I think the market is a little, like, opening its doors a little bit up to it right now. Just one movie I can think of is, like, that Kumail Nanjiani movie that he made about him and his wife. It's, like, one of the only interracial couple movies that have come out recently.
What was it called?
The one where it's, like, oh, my God. He plays himself. It's literally his story about him and his wife.
Oh.
What is it called? I know the movie. Everyone who's listening knows the movie. The Big Sick.
Oh, I did hear about that. And his wife is a white woman, right?
Yes.
That
one? Yeah. So, like, obviously not
I haven't seen it.
A direct connection to what we're talking about right now, but, like, just the idea of considering a love story that doesn't look like the typical, you know, what we've seen in The Notebook or whatever else, right?
Yeah.
And is rooted in, like, this was his, like, story with his wife.
Yeah, and I feel like because when we think about romance and, like, there's a very like standard Western idea of what romance should look like and what and how people are supposed to be romantically involved, but that doesn't take into consideration so many people's cultures, so many people's beliefs and values, and so romance looks different for everybody. And so I think being able to see that reflected in media would help people understand, rather than say, like, oh, you do that differently, ew, like, that's not right, you know what I mean? And that's tends to be the case most of the time where people see something different.
And because, like, well, The Big Sick wasn't a perfect movie either. Like, there's things at the end that are like, okay.
Yeah, I heard some critique about it.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but at the same time, it's hard to critique that one just because that is his story. It's not him making a fictional story about a brown guy and a white woman. Yeah. But besides that point, like, I just wanted, like, because I was thinking about all the movies that are even coming up about Black people, like the Harriet Tubman movie that's coming out soon,
I literally, in my mind, I was going to bring that up right now. Because I was so... First of all, when I saw the trailer, when I heard about the movie, I was like, oh, okay, cool, like, great. Yeah. Like, you know, that's an important figure.
Overdue, can I just say? Because she's, like...
I've been learning about this lady in history.
Just, like, she's, like, at the top of the list for me.
Since I was in elementary school. Like,
she's just
but
she's
then
the craziest hero.
I saw on Twitter this, someone tweeted about all the characters that they put into the film that weren't actually real. Like, they made them up.
Wow, okay.
Just, and the people, so basically, I can't specifically remember which characters, but I remember that the person who retweeted the trailer was saying how, like, there's a man in the movie that helps her escape, like a white man, that never existed in real life.
Right.
And then she was like, basically the point the person was trying to make is, like, why is it that they always try to have this, like, white savior complex in
what
movies
do they have
about...
to show up?
Yeah, in movies about... Exactly. In movies about... you know, like a woman who is a big figure in... She
helped... Let's forget about the people who helped her. She helped so many people, and time after time... risked her life to do so.
So yes, there obviously, when it comes to like the history of slavery, of course there was white people that aided in the freedom of slaves, but because that was the dynamic, white people were enslaving Black people, so white people also had the power to free them at times, you know. But also we have to recognize that there were a lot of Black people that were a part of that, and that
who are the real heroes, really.
And that led big roles in the freement of slaves. Anyways,
so,
but what did you want to say about the movie? Because,
just really quickly, just because, like, okay, so that movie's coming out, which, really quickly, that actress, she's known more in, like, the Broadway world. She can freaking sing. This woman, like, just go back and watch her performance she did The Color Purple.
Oh.
The Color Purple,
yeah.
The Color
Purple.
The Color Purple. Okay, sorry. She did that, and then she sang, like, a Lion King song at a previous Tony Awards. She can sing. She's, like, really good. Okay, so her, like, that movie's coming out, obviously a certain definite tone that's going to be with that movie. Yeah. Even though it's a very important.
Did you also hear about who was supposed to play Harriet Tubman?
No.
When they first pitched this, like, years ago?
No. I don't want... Do I want to know? I'm scared with that laugh. I don't want that.
Just guess. Just do a wild guess. I'll tell you right now, she wasn't Black. She's not black currently.
I was gonna say like a white woman. Really?
Yeah, it's a white woman. Well, like this is like someone. So basically, when this movie was first, I don't remember when it was first pitched, like years ago. Yeah. But when it was first pitched to like I guess a room of, movie producers or whatever, they suggested that Julia Roberts play Harriet Tubman.
You're just making shit up at this point.
I'm not lying. It has been said.
Who? Okay.
And then, yeah, obviously they were like, no.
What the fuck?
I think he took his time. He was like, oh, okay, they're not ready for this yet. He took it back.
I can't even wrap my head around that right now.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I'm like dying a little bit on the inside. Okay, just really quickly, Harriet Tubman movie's coming out. Right now, what's kind of, or has a little bit been on everyone's mind, like when they see us, that show, went crazy, went super viral, super, super, super important story. Yeah. But definitely, again, another certain kind of tone about Black people, right? So with this, like, almost like monotonously coming out, again, not like saying that these stories aren't important, they're hyper important, because like I think the people who are making them are thinking like people need to know these stories to have a better idea of the Black experience and like better recognize this whole group of people.
It's important, 100%.
But like I think that the photograph, even though it's not based in history or even though it's like a fictional romance movie, I think in certain ways it's almost just as important, only because it's showing Black people as humans in a modern context for people to relate to. Yeah. And that I think given right now when there's so many, especially in America, when there's so many like divides being set up and people just can't connect with each other and just talk to each other as like regular people, just to see this kind of a movie come out, I think is like just as important, just to be able to like be like, okay, well, you don't have to just accept a whole group of people based on what they're struggling with or how they need to be more empowered, which again is important, but like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
regular everyday things.
I get it. Yeah, and like obviously the movie isn't out yet. We don't know if it's going to be.
Yeah, watch it be complete. No, I don't want it to be. It should be good.
I hope it's good, and I feel like it will be. I feel like from what I've seen in the trailer, but sometimes trailers can trick you.
Yeah,
that's also true.
I know.
But it's just like it's just nice to see something different.
Yeah.
And something that looks like it's going to be really authentic, and that it's going to create a space for like Black love and Black vulnerability, which isn't always the case. And yeah, I'm really excited to see it. And like in other movies coming out, there's that movie I was telling you about, Queen and Slim, that has Daniel Kaluuya in it. And I think it should when we release this episode, it's already out.
Oh, okay.
So again, like I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if it's good, but it's supposed to be like a drama, like crime movie, but it involves like a Black man and woman it's basically they're on their first date and they have an altercation with the cops, and then they're basically on the run. But I think that also explores Black love in an interesting way as well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah,
because, like Daniel Kaluuya is a great actor.
Yeah. And I've seen her around too. Like Lena, I don't think I've seen her in anything, but she's in a lot of interviews. She's like Lena
Waithe is the screenplay. She did the screenplay for the movie.
She's not in it itself.
I don't believe. I think the.
Yeah. Oh no.
No, the
Jodie Turner something. Yeah. Oh, okay. That was her.
No. Lena Waithe did the screenplay.
Never mind. But anyways, like I think that's an interesting take on it too, because it's like love intertwined with politics. You're getting both at once.
Yeah. And can I also say that both these movies star like dark-skinned Black people?
Yeah. That was the next thing I was going to touch on actually really quickly, because like the thing is in the media, it's like usually it's rom-com movies more than any kind of movie that like features the most attractive people like within that time period, if you think about it. Right? No, but like I mean like it kind of defines like when The Notebook came out, for example, Ryan Gosling was like the height of being like the hottest boy around, like, and same thing when like J-Lo was in rom-com movies, right? Like people are always at their height when it comes to like being considered like the most beautiful or whatever. So given that like context, it's nice to see just not even just like Issa Rae and that guy from Get Out, but like just Black people in general being just featurettes, being like the two that attractive couple that are featured in the movie. It's nice to see. And yeah, like you said, like not just Black people but dark-skinned Black people. It's like really refreshing.
I love that. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so excited to watch it. I really hope it's good. And I love Black Love.
Yeah.
Sounds so corny, but I do. It makes me so happy. Like,
I can't wait to watch it and just be like, gosh, this is so good.
I know,
just filled with love and just like that buzzy feeling.
You know, because okay, I'm gonna pull out a little example of my first, well, not my first experience, but like definitely my early experiences to Black Love.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh at me.
I'm
but
scared
basically,
at the same time. But okay.
That's So Raven, right?
Ooh.
You know, was my favorite show as a child.
Yeah.
And I literally, guys, when I tell you that I modeled myself after Raven, not even Raven Simone, Raven Baxter, okay? Raven Simone, I didn't know who she was. I only knew Raven Baxter.
You're right.
I literally, like, I used her catchphrases.
No way.
I knew everything. And
I can see that I can
yeah,
take.
and like, I would be like, oh, snap. Or I'd be like, you little nasty. No. Like, I would say, I knew all her catchphrases, still do. And I would use them all the time, and people would literally say to me like, wow, you remind me of like That's So Raven. I would get so happy.
And then you're just like, yes.
And can I say that show, amongst all the other topics that they talked about that were so important and people don't recognize, like, that show was amazing.
That show was amazing.
But the portrayal of Black love that they had in that show was amazing. First of all, her parents, they were like,
that's true. I never considered her parents
mom,
out of everything.
like, and her dad's a chef, and her mom, well, they don't really talk about it in the early seasons, but like she goes to law school and all this stuff, and like they're both successful Black people, married. They love you. They're like a unit. Yeah, they're a unit, and they openly like showcase their love with each other, and like
that's true.
And their love for their children and all that stuff. And then there's also Raven and her.
That's what I thought at first.
So obviously Raven, like, she has like, you know, little crushes here and there, whatever in the show, but her main love,
her main boy,
is Devon. Okay, and literally they were my that was my
your
like
icon,
my OTP. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, One True Pairing.
One True Pairing. Oh my god. I've never used that lingo before. This is the first time.
That's like a throwback to like 10 years ago.
They were like the it couple for me. They were so cute. Yeah. And that was like one of my early memories of Black love. And like, it's so important. Because I feel like that shaped me in like how I think of like romance and relationships now.
Absolutely.
But yeah, their love was amazing, and they were so mature.
Yeah,
like they were supposed to be grade 9.
Yeah, they weren't even like gushy or anything.
No,
really.
It was well, Raven. She was gushy, but like
when she was talking to Chelsea,
like I remember there was this one episode where she finds out that Devon is like like this dork who likes to go to like those sci-fi conventions.
Oh, okay.
Like, so there's like this show that he likes that's like a alien, like almost like a Star Wars alien, something I don't know, show, and he's going to this convention, and he's part of like quote unquote the dork group,
right? And
she's like, you know, Raven's like, nah, that's not my type, but then she finds out he likes it, so she's like, okay, I'll like it too. I'll try it out. And then so basically like the whole episode talks about like communication basically in a relationship, and trust, and that's insane to me because they're supposed to be only like 15 years old,
right? Such a big topic for them,
right? And they take it so well, because like Raven at first lies about the fact that she likes the show,
right?
But then he finds out that she lies, and he's like, you know, like, Raven, just communicate with me. If you don't like it, that's okay. We don't have to like the same things.
Exactly.
And she's like, oh, so it's like it's okay if I don't go to the convention? He's like, yeah, of course, you know, just let me, you know. And they handle it so well.
Yes.
But then she finds out that he's going with another girl from school, and she's like, and he's like, you'll be okay, right? You trust me. You're not going to be jealous, all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, I trust you. But then she ends up like
freaking out and stuff.
She ends up like sneaking into the convention
to watch
him. Oh. And then so they have to have this conversation about trust again at the end when he finds out that she's there. And he's like, you know, you can tell me anything. We have to trust each other. And I was like,
cute. That's so cute, actually.
It's actually amazing. And this is what was like, people their age at that time were watching the show. Like, I was too young for like I didn't have any, you know.
Definitely was not the age.
I was like 10, but the people who were like 15 or so in high school, maybe going through the same thing, had that representation there, and I don't know if it directly affected them, but I think that's so important that it existed. You know,
that was even the theme of the story whatsoever. It's pretty dope. Yeah.
So I went on a tangent about That's So Raven, but
that's okay. I
think I made my point.
Yeah. You know what I was just thinking of during that? Like, I think we touched on pretty much everything. Like, I think we covered it all. But it's just funny because we didn't really talk about Get Out itself as being like, technically it was supposed to be a love story, but that went completely wrong. Oh, yeah. Right? I find that really interesting too. Like, but that had a complete different intent, that obviously. But I just like how that's what this main actor went from to now make this movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but so I mean, like, I'm excited to see the movie.
We might do another podcast once it comes out. Maybe give like a quick review, just to say.
Exactly. Definitely.
If we recommend it or whatever.
But the main idea from what we were talking about in this episode is that and not just like me and Razia, but I just think the world
in general
needs more representation in film. And the thing is, okay, because we're in North America and what we mainly see in film is what we get from Hollywood, like that's our perspective. I mean, there's so many international films that cover these topics, but because they're international, they don't get as much viewing in the West or in North America. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we can turn towards international films to find those stories, but Hollywood still has a responsibility.
Has all the eyes and stuff on
it, and they have a responsibility to be showcasing the diverse perspectives and to let in and to make space for creators who come from diverse backgrounds so that they can tell these stories. Because the people in Hollywood, quite frankly say it, like these white producers, these white everything, period white, who control everything, you don't need to tell our stories. We can tell our stories for ourselves. Yeah. And it's great when they want to be a part of a project. Like, collaboration is always great. Like, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of them are in the industry for a reason, because they're good at what they do. Yeah. So collaboration is always important. You know, giving the back up, like giving the support for a story to live and to exist in the space is important. But I don't think that the people who are directly behind the stories, like the screenplay writers and the directors and the producers, like those people, I think, need to be the people who are from the background that are telling the story.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's so important for it to be authentic. And a lot of the times we see these movies and we get so excited, and then we find out that the people who are telling the stories don't reflect the story that's being told. And sometimes that's an issue, because then we're not feeling like we're getting an authentic story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my point there. We need not only representation in the media that's created, but also in the creators that are making the media.
Yeah,
And I think that's something that's very well known in the space. Like, people are asking for it, people need it, because then we won't get those TV shows like that girl, like the Apple TV show about the, about the girl who falls in love with the white boy.
The Hala movie.
Yeah, that one.
That's its own.
Well, actually, you know,
thing.
That's another story. We're not going to talk about that.
Other podcast.
That's a whole other thing. But that's my point. Before we wrap it up, is there any last things you wanted to say, Razia?
No, I just wanted to agree with what you just said.
Because that's a whole other thing that's another thing.
That's completely other thing.
So, on that note, we're going to end this episode, because obviously we can talk on for hours.
Never.
So, we hope you guys enjoyed. Again, we always say this, and I feel like we're begging at this point.
Yeah.
However,
on hands and knees
it's not a beg. It's just that we want
conversation.
From we want to hear from you guys, and like, we do hear from some people, but we want to open up that conversation. We want to make it. We want to hear more perspectives, because that's how we learn, right? And
yeah, especially with this discussion, I'd like to see like what you guys like. If there's any movies that we forgot to touch on that are big, huge. Black love movies, that like let us know, like, and maybe if you have even criticisms about this trailer and stuff too,
I would love to hear what people are saying, maybe on the opposite end of the spectrum. And also what I forgot what I was gonna say.
We just want to hear from you guys.
So we want to hear from you guys, and and if you guys want us to do more of like a lighthearted episode where we talk about like the top Black love stories in film over the decades, I would love to do that, because I would love to review.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
So let us know. But again, follow us on Instagram, YouTube.
We're on Twitter now.
We're on SoundCloud. We're on the iTunes podcast app. And you can also email us at our Gmail.
Yes.
But it was great talking to you guys, and we will talk to you guys on the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.